Hi, welcome back to the Finite Math Podcast. In the last episode, we constructed a single histogram or column graph to visually represent the data in a distribution. Today, we want to look at constructing graphs that represent two data sets so that we can compare them. Now, as an example, let's go back to the data sets that we looked at in episode 21, where we had computed the experimental probability that a baseball player would get a certain number of hits and buy that bats, and we also computed the theoretical probability of the same thing. So we want to compare these graphically. So let's first of all construct the basic graph here. Let's go and highlight the two data sets. Now notice I've arranged them in adjacent columns. Go to the chart wizard. We want a histogram, which is a column graph, and this is the right subtype. Go to the next chart here. Notice that it looks okay, except again the x-axis labels are not proper, so let's go to series and go to the category x-axis labels and make them the correct choice. Now, because we have two series here, maybe we want to give them a name. So the first series was the series in column K. That was the experimental probability. So I'll just put under the name experimental. And let's go to series 2, and we'll call that theoretical. All right, that looks okay. Now, we've got those labels on the right-hand side. It probably would be a little nicer to have them across the bottom. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll just finish that. And there's our histogram for these two data sets. Now, one of the comparisons here is that the columns for each at-bat are presented side by side. We'd like to maybe superimpose them. Now, how can we do that? Well, we can do that by changing the axis where these are located on. So we can take one of them. Maybe if we want to take the experimental one and leave it on the left axis, we want to put the theoretical one and put it on the right axis over here. So let's right-click on that column associated with one of the theoretical items. Go to Format Data Series, and we want to look under the Axis tab here. So we want, both are now on the primary axis, but we can make a choice. We can put one of them on the secondary axis, which is the right-hand side, as I said. Okay, well, as we see, this happens to cover up a bunch because both columns are the same width. So what we can do is go under Options, and we can change the width of, well, the one that we are looking at now, and that's the theoretical. So to make, we want to maybe make the theoretical smaller so that we can see the one that's hidden behind it. So if we make it the column thinner, it means we have to increase the gap. So maybe let's increase this to double it to 300, maybe 400, give it a little extra here. Okay, I'll say okay, see what happens. Well, yes, okay, that happened to make it. Maybe we should make the experimental a little wider, so I can right-click on the experimental one, go to Format Data Series, go to the gap width, and let me see, I'd like to make the this one wider, so that means I would want to cut down the gap width. So let's cut this down to 100, maybe 75, whatever choice you might like. Okay, so this gives a reasonable picture where we can now actually look at the two histograms as we see them, and they're lined up one after another. Well, there you have it. Next time, we'll take a look at changing one of the graph types so that we can take a look at the data in a different way. Thank you.